Alright guys, so I've already watched this video right here from Vibe Reactions. Alright. Now look, I watch a lot of this guy's videos. I mean, he is incredibly entertaining. Okay. But after watching this, like I gained so much more respect for this man. Okay. I respect his opinion, and he's absolutely right. And we got to talk about it. Now, we're not on camera right now because we're not doing a reaction, okay? We're just talking, all right? And for me, my personal opinion is if I'm just talking, you know, then I don't really need to be on camera for that.
Yo, y'all niggas is crazy, bro. I don't know, man. Whatever. Y'all think whatever y'all want to think. I don't give a fuck at this point. I got people telling me. I said Eminem dropping. I put a post. Did you see the post? Shout out to the people that liked the post, and shout out to the people that didn't like the post. These niggas was telling me I don't support Eminem anymore ever since he sold his soul. Like when he do that? What year? How old were you? When did he sell his soul? And then I never understood that because people kept on telling me that he sold his soul, he did this, he's whatever. And I was like, I never understood what people meant by that. I was like, if he's talking about because he's in the industry, because he was in the industry in 99, 90, like 20 something years ago.
Now, look, here's the crazy part, okay? That side of the spectrum over there, they support freedom of speech. They support, you know, all these other things. It's like, have your own opinion. People are too sensitive, right? Like, that's their whole philosophy, and that philosophy is fine, but it's hypocritical because if I changed and I said, you know what, I agree with everything you guys say, then they'll say, okay, now you have the freedom to voice your opinions. So if anyone within their bubble, right, is talking or whatever else, they'll have the freedom to say whatever they want because they mostly agree with everything that's in that philosophy. Okay. But for someone else who comes along and doesn't see things the way they do, well, then they need to be canceled. They need to shut up. They need to shut up and dribble. Okay. He's a musician. He doesn't need to be giving out his political views. Okay. However, apparently Ted Nugent, like, as far as I could tell, like they're saying, you know, Ted Nugent is so great because he's telling it like it is, right? But Taylor Swift comes out and says she doesn't like Donald Trump. Well, guess what? You know, she needs to shut up. She's a musician. But Ted Nugent, oh, he's a musician, but he knows what he's talking about. So we're going to praise him. We're going to lift him up and say he's so great. But Taylor Swift, oh, she's a musician. Okay. Like, the hypocrisy is outrageous. And it's the same thing for Eminem. You know, if he never did that cipher, if he never, stood up for Black Lives Matter, if he never did any of that stuff, that whole side of that spectrum would probably be, supporting Eminem, going to his concerts. But since he doesn't like Donald Trump, that's the end of it. And that doesn't make sense to me. Okay? Like whoever you want. It's a free country. We're supposed to be, freedom of thought for everybody. Now, that can go too far, but when it does, like that's a whole separate situation over there. Okay? You know, have your freedom of speech, have your freedom of thought, freedom of religion, all that stuff is great. As long as your philosophy doesn't tell you you need to go hurt other people, then live your life. You know what I'm saying? But don't fall into philosophies that tells you like you need to go force other people to adapt to your way of thinking. Okay, that's when we have a problem. As long as you ain't doing that, live your life and do what you want. But that's where we get into the problem with, that side of the spectrum over there, right? Is I'm not going to say all of them. If you're a conservative, if you're a Trump supporter, if you're this or you're that, that's totally fine. You know, it's not everybody over there, okay? It's just some of them. Some, you know, and maybe it's just a lot of people from that spectrum that speak out and make them actually look bad, right? And that's the same problem we got on the left, okay? A lot of people from the left that are, have platforms and they're doing all this stuff, right? They go way too far with it. They are pandering way too freaking much. Like Brian Tyler Cohen, right? His channel, I think, is called like No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen, something like that. And he made a video and he said, you know, Joe Biden is perfectly fine. Like, he is on the ball. Like, he's doing these things, he's doing this. Like there's nothing wrong with Joe Biden, right? And I'm like, how can you say No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen, right? But you're pandering so hard that you're, what, willing to live in denial? Like, do you actually believe that? Or are you just actually lying? Okay? I think he actually believes it, though. You know, but here's the thing, like, it's the same problem, y'all. If people are pandering, if people are trying to tell their core audience exactly what they want to hear, like, that's when hey, wait a minute, you need to back up a little bit. That ain't sounded right. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to make these people be honest. uh it don't matter what I think, because I could put on every single one of his videos, he'd never acknowledge it. And that's the thing I hate so much is, these people that are like celebrities, right? They won't acknowledge and actually talk to real people. They'll talk to other people who also have platforms. But those people who have platforms, guess what? A lot of them are going to be pandering. A lot of them are going to say things they know that ain't true, okay? Because they don't want to get canceled, right? And here's the thing. Look at Eminem. Look at Taylor Swift. Look at other people who have spoken out against Donald Trump, knowing that they're going to lose a lot of freaking people over that. Look at the ballsy move that Eminem did. You know what I'm saying? He knows there's a lot of Trump supporters out there. He knows that, right? But he still had you know, to go out there and freaking say, if you support him, don't support me, right? And a lot of people stop supporting him over that. And what I tried to tell people, because I actually know people who said, you know what, after he did that, I said, Eminem is trash. And I said, here's the thing. If I was a Trump supporter, I would still listen to Eminem. I still would. And you know why? I don't let celebrities tell me what to think, tell me who to listen to, tell me who not to listen to. If Eminem came out tomorrow and said, you know what, Taylor Swift is trash, don't listen to Taylor Swift, you know what I would do? I would start listening to Taylor Swift even more, all right? I don't let Eminem tell me what to think, all right? So, I could still be a Trump supporter. If you guys come out and tell me what he's done that was going to, change my opinion, that's totally fine. I would be a Trump supporter and still listening to Eminem. Okay? It's not one or the other. It's whatever you think. It's whatever you believe. It's whatever you know, like, right? And and you can be a Trump supporter and still listen to Taylor Swift. Okay? Look at what Donald Trump said. He said, I like her about 25% less. Not 100. He said 25%. You know what that means? He still listens to Taylor Swift's music. I know he does. So it's that simple. You could like them a little bit less, but form your own opinions. Don't let celebrities tell you, what you need to believe in order to be in their camp. Be in whatever camp you want. If you want to be a conservative and say, Eminem is a badass rapper and not very many people could even compete with him, you could do that. You don't do that. Start to pop some of their echo chamber bubbles, y'all. On both sides, on every side, whatever it is. Go out there and start popping these echo chamber bubbles, y'all. For real. And that's what this guy's doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, he'll watch a lot of MAGA rappers, and as far as I know, he don't like sit there and bash them and critique them and say, "Oh, you shouldn't be so hard on supporting Donald." He don't do none of that stuff. I don't think he's, I don't know if he, likes Trump or doesn't like Trump. I have no idea. The only thing I know for sure is he doesn't get mad at people when they say they don't like Donald Trump, like a lot of other people would. They was, it's crazy, y'all. It really is. Like, we got to chill a little bit.
He was in industry. How is that a problem now? That doesn't make any sense. You were rocking with him before when he was in the industry, but you're not. So it never made any sense to me, right? Until I saw a comment the other day, and the comment said,
This right here blew me away that someone was so brazen to just come out and freaking say it, y'all. Like, that was nuts. It just blew my mind, y'all, that someone could be so vile and nasty. Okay? It's like, what?
not to read the whole thing, it quick, short, and to the point. Eminem is a nigger lover, and we don't support him because of that. Because of the whole Trump thing, and Eminem was fighting for the black people. Let me give you a track record of Eminem and white people. Let me tell you how that works out.
So, look, here's what I'm going to say. All right? Here's what we got to start understanding. You know, when people say someone is a white savior, okay, we got to understand that some people may be that, okay, but we can't just go throwing that label out at everyone who seems to be a white savior, okay? We need to throw it out accurately when someone actually is doing that, okay? And my opinion is someone who advocates against voter ID laws, okay? That person is a white savior, okay? Now, I listen and trust people who have that opinion, and my opinion is different, okay? Now, and there's black people who believe that is, that it's racist to say, you need to have an ID to vote. Well, here's where I'm lost on that. I don't understand. Maybe my opinion is wrong because I don't understand. That's totally fine. But see, if I just shut up about it and never voice my opinion, right, where someone could correct me, well, guess what? I'm living in my own echo chamber. I believe a certain way and never allow anyone to ever, pop that bubble. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm allowing you guys, whoever has a different opinion, that's totally fine. Give me your opinion. You know what I'm saying? Let's have a conversation about it. All right? So here's what I'm going to say. What exactly is it that makes voter ID laws racist? That's my first question. What is that exactly? Okay? Because if you're going to say it's racist, that means you're going to have to prove that that is targeting a certain race of people and trying to, you know, give them disadvantages, give them a harder way of life. Okay. Now, that's not to say there aren't any, racist people passing laws and making things harder for black people. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying though is voter ID laws doesn't seem to fit that criteria. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, so here's my thing. For anyone who votes, okay, I would expect them to be a United States citizen. Okay, if we don't have voter ID laws, if we don't have a way of identifying who it is that's actually voting, right, then we could have illegal immigrants voting. And we don't want that, right? I mean, there's a lot of talk about supposedly, I don't know how true it is, but there's like housing for illegal immigrants. There's like they'll give them all kinds of stuff, and I'm like, yeah, where? Go take a video of it, right? Go pretend to be a legal immigrant and see what they tell you and record it. Find a loophole in the law somewhere that allows you to record people. I know in certain states, I think it's legal to do that, right? I don't know how true that is. I don't understand, those kind of laws right there. But if it's legal, then put a tape recorder in your pocket. Go up there and tell them, I'm an illegal immigrant. I have nothing. I have nowhere to go. And see if they give you permanent housing, right? But if they put you in a shelter, that's one thing. But they're saying, oh, they're giving them apparently food stamps, I think they said. I think Joe Rogan was talking about this. Yeah, they'll give them like permanent housing, food stamps. They'll do all these other things, and they're legal immigrants, right? And it's like they treat them so much better than they treat our homeless population, right? And, I would like to see that too. Have someone else go up there and tell them they're a United States citizen and they're homeless and see if they get turned away. Like, come on, we need proof. If it's happening like that in broad daylight, like y'all are saying, give us the proof. If not, what I'm going to tell you is probably just another conspiracy theory meant to throw shade at the left. Okay? That's probably what it is. But people who are gullible, and Joe Rogan apparently is really gullible because he believes all that crap, okay? Like his video where he was like bashing the left, like, oh, they're doing this, they're doing that. They don't allow you to ask questions about, you know, puberty blockers and how it could be dangerous. And they don't allow you to ask any of those questions. Well, guess what? A lot of them do. It depends on who you ask. So just because some people from the left might say that, you can't just turn away from the left and say, I'm not a lefty anymore. Like, come on, for real? Don't let certain people, steer your political views, right? You're supposed to steer your political views based on beliefs and ideologies and what, that platform stands for, right? So it's like if you've been a Democrat all your life, but then all of a sudden Joe Biden gets elected as president, and then you hate Joe Biden, right? And then you say, I'm not a Democrat anymore. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Still be a Democrat, just don't support Joe Biden. Joe Rogan could still be a lefty, but not support whoever it is that was saying whatever he didn't agree with. Just say, hey, I don't agree with you, okay? So, yeah, like, if you're trying to live in an echo chamber and someone else that you view that also lives in an echo chamber has a different opinion, then it's like, oh no, we can't have that. We all have to agree on the same stuff. We all have to, have the same exact beliefs, or else I can't hang out with you. Like, that's ridiculous, Joe Rogan. It's ridiculous. People who hate Eminem because he has a different point of view. Like, come on. You know, and for y'all's information, later on in one of Eminem's songs, he actually talked about that and said he went too far. He said he went too far and he shouldn't have brought the fans into it or the people that support Donald Trump. He said that. I can't remember, I can't remember the name of the song right now, but I'm sure some of you guys might put in the comments and let me know what that song was. Okay. So, and it's like y'all want to get so ticked off at Eminem, right? For saying that. But it's like, have you ever had an argument and went too far? So you have an argument, right? And you just say something that cuts so deep, right? That they just shut down emotionally. Like they're just done at that point. But what happens later on? What are you gonna tell that person? It was in the heat of the moment. I got carried away. I was upset and I said something I didn't mean. Boom. There you go. Now y'all are hypocrites. You know what I'm saying? If you ever done that in your life, okay, but you know, and someone else done that to you, of course they have. Of course they've said something they didn't mean. They may not admit it. They probably, a lot of people, they can't admit when they were wrong, okay? And, but if they did admit it, or even if they didn't, you would still, because you care about that person. They're your spouse. Of course you're eventually gonna forgive them and move on and say, like, you know what? You said something that cut deep, but it's really not that big a deal, and you move on, you forgive them, you carry on with life. Okay? You're not gonna let that one thing, that one comment just destroy everything that you've been working to build. You know what I'm saying? So if you go through life that way, but then you expect, other people that you admire, that you look up to, whatever else, you expect them to, every single thing they say, you have to agree with, or else you'll turn away from them and never give them another chance. Like, come on, you're a hypocrite. Okay? And not saying you have to, listen to his music again to not be a hypocrite. That's not what I'm saying. But you should at least acknowledge, you know, he was wrong for saying that, but he admitted he was wrong for saying that. That's the important part. And that's something they never addressed. They're just saying, hey, he looked at the camera and he said, F you, and I was out. I was done. And they won't acknowledge that he ever said, that he was wrong for doing that. Okay. But like I said, the heat of the moment, sometimes you get carried away and you go too far. He went too far when he did that. I'll say that. And I love Eminem's music. Like, I don't see nothing wrong with Eminem. He got carried away and he shouldn't have brought the people into it. And that's the thing, right?
Let me give you a track record of Eminem and white people. Let me tell you how that works out. So the majority of the people that were boycotting Eminem from the beginning, from when he signed to Dre until probably Encore, were all white. The majority of the people that went at Eminem in the beginning of his career were all white. ICP, Everlast, all white. Cannabis was a lonely nigga. All white. I'm talking about on wax. I'm not talking about on stage. Let's see what black people did for Eminem. Helped him get his name heard. Shout out to Proof. Rest in peace, Proof. Protected him from the people that were trying to get at him. Shout out to the whole D12. He's been riding with the same niggas since he started this shit. Shout out.
And here's what I'm gonna say. Okay. Now, a lot of people will say, oh, he's not welcome in the culture because he's white. He's not part of the culture. But you know what I'm going to say to that? Y'all got to let color go. Y'all focus too much on color. Focus on character. You know what I'm saying? It should be about character, not color. Right? Like y'all want to say, Eminem isn't welcome because he's white. But then you'll look at someone else and say, you know, don't look at me differently because I'm black. That don't make any sense. You're telling some people, you know, judge Eminem differently because he's white, but don't judge me differently because I'm black. If you want an equality, then you should tell people, let Eminem do his thing, right? Like he's part of this. And I will say this, if someone is actually a poser, right? If they're just pretending to, you know, embrace the culture, if they're just pretending to do all that, then I'll agree with you and I will say, yeah, something's wrong with that guy's character, right? Something just seems off. And again, you still could be mislabeling that person as a poser. You could be. So let's just make sure when we throw labels out, we do it accurately. We take our time. You know what I'm saying? Get to know that person. Ask them questions. Find out, you know, everything. And then, you know, figure out if you still think he's a poser or not. But also, if you do say he's a poser, then allow other people with different opinions to, you know, maybe break your echo chamber a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Allow to hear different opinions, right? Nothing wrong with that. You know, maybe they see something you don't see. Okay? It's simple.
Shout out to Paul Rosenberg. Shout out to D12. Shout out to Proof. Shout out to Obi Trice. Shout out to all of them out there. So how do you think he is going to feel? First. Second, why are you going to a rapper for your political opinion? Why do you give a fuck who he voted for, who he didn't vote for? How does that make him not good?
Yeah. Like, man, when you said that, I was like, my mind was blown. Like, that is so freaking true. Like, why do you care so much? Which side of the spectrum this person is on or that person's on? Like, why do you care so much? Now, you could ask me that, why I care so much, and I have a legitimate reason, okay? Because I like to, you know, learn about this stuff. I like to understand things, right? And so, for me, whenever someone is speaking about their beliefs, I want to listen to them. I want to understand. As long as their beliefs and views isn't like telling me like I have to adapt to every single thing they say, like that's propaganda. Like that part I won't listen to. If you're trying to tell me I have to, you know, follow in your footsteps, do everything you do, hell no. Like get away from me for real, right? Like I'm not trying to sign up for no cult. And if you're giving me cultish views, right? Then no, I ain't gonna listen to you at all.
Good anymore. Like, you're acting like just because that nigga said something to you that pissed you off, that his skill just went away.
Right.
That's crazy. That's insane. Because he put the line across the sand and gave you nigga, you didn't have to choose. Like you understand that, right? Like
Yeah.
it was a point he was trying to prove. And he went away to about it that hurt your feelings. That doesn't make him less of a rapper. That's still the same nigga you liked the day before he dropped that freestyle.
Now, and I'll tell you this, if you have a platform, right? If you have an audience and you're in that camp that says, you know, oh, we'll never listen to Eminem because he don't like Trump or whatever else, that's totally fine. But you know what y'all could do? Instead of being, so aggressive with it and not listening at all and doing all this other stuff, you know what you could do? Get on camera and explain and give your opinions as to why Eminem is wrong about Donald Trump. How about that? Huh? Can we do that? Can y'all get up there and tell us why he's wrong for supporting the Black Lives Matter movement? Why he's wrong for, speaking out against Donald Trump? How about that one? Okay. Now, I know a lot of the arguments, okay, but the arguments don't hold up. Like Donald Trump having a meeting with a lot of black people in there, and that's proof that he's not racist, right? Like they'll say that. I watched the video. I don't remember who it was. This guy was like, is Donald Trump actually racist? Right? And he showed a whole bunch of what he calls proof that Donald Trump isn't racist. Okay. But here's what that guy is missing. There's levels of racism. There's levels to it. Now, to prove that, okay, you could have people you respect, you admire that are black, right? But if you go to the ghetto, right, and all of a sudden you're looking at these black people differently, right? Like they're dangerous, like they're gonna do something to you because they're black, right? You're racist. You're racist against those black people, okay? And to give you an even better example to further prove it, because it came out of someone's mouth who a lot of people respect and admire, and I respect and admire his opinions too. He's right about a lot of freaking things, okay? But guess what? He does have a little bit of racism in him, and he's married to a black woman. Can y'all understand that? He literally said, okay, if a black man's shoes are messed up, that means his life is messed up, and we're watching to see what's going to happen. I'm not saying something's going to happen, but I'm aware. Okay? Now, what we have to remember is he's attributing that to race. Because black people, like, they really care about looking nice, keeping their shoes clean, like all these other things, okay? And but if a black person isn't doing that, then I'm afraid of them, right? But here's the thing. If you're living in the ghetto and you're living in poverty, well, guess what? You ain't going to be able to, you know, look the way you want to look. You're not going to be able to dress the way you want to dress, okay? And those people shouldn't be judged like that because they're living in poverty, right? And if you're going to be nervous being in the ghetto, then you better be nervous of the freaking white people too, okay? Because they're just as dangerous. That's the thing. Like, it depends on the level of crime in the area that you're in. That's what matters. Race is irrelevant. Like, you think a white person being in the same situation isn't gonna mug you? Like, get real. Like, they're just as dangerous. Bill Burr, they're just as dangerous. You know, we gotta stop judging people based on race. You know, and I would say a white person with, you know, messed up shoes and, you know, looking like they're homeless or whatever else, they're just as dangerous. Like, come on. Y'all gotta get real. We gotta start being honest about this stuff. Okay? And that's not to say, you know, Bill Burr's racist and we should never listen to him. That's not what I'm saying at all. The only thing I'm saying is there's levels to it. That's just a hint of racism against people that are, you know, below the poverty line, right? That, and a lot of us are. That's not a dig against them. That's a dig against society. Okay? And a lot of people, you know, like the 1350, we got to talk about that again because it's relevant. It really is. It's relevant. A lot of people will say, like, will spew that out like it's proof that black people are bad. Like, anytime you talk about crime rates and this and that, oh, 1350, black people are the ones responsible for it. Really? What was it that caused those specific black people to commit those specific crimes, right? Was it poverty? I bet it was for most of it. I bet it was. Let me go ahead and prove this point too. Why is it they say it's not good for children to be exposed to violent video games? Think about that one. That's what they say, right? No violent movies, no violent video games, no violent music, no violent nothing. Okay? But think about the kids who are growing up in rough neighborhoods and seeing their parents deal drugs, seeing, you know, actual crimes happening when they're going back and forth to school. Think about all that. That's a problem with society. It's not a problem with them. And when they go and they commit horrible crimes, we can't just lay all the blame on them. Okay? They are a product of their environment. The environment is wrong. If you actually help those people, okay, help them find a good job, help them get an apartment somewhere, help them do all these things, we could reduce the problems with society, okay? But y'all want to take, you know, people who do horrible things out of survival because it's like a jungle in those areas. It really is. The survival of the fittest. They live by different rules because they have to. Because y'all ain't helping them. And that's not to say they can't do anything in life without help, that they're like helpless and they don't know anything. That would be a white savior. That would be some, you know, and that's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is if you put people in impossible situations, you can't lay all the blame on them when they do something horrible. Okay? And a lot of people judge them, right? Like they would never do anything wrong. Like they would never rob anyone or steal anything, right? Oh, they would never do that. But you go and take all their resources away, right? Make them homeless. Make it so that they have nothing and see what happens. Anyone who judges them when they do something horrible, oh, they robbed an old lady, they, you know, did all these other things, and that is horrible, and I'm not advocating for that at all. You know, and they shouldn't be doing that. But at the same time, they should have, you know, available options in place so that that never happens. Okay? It's a problem with society. Society is bringing them up to be that way.
Or am I bugging, bro? Am I the only one that's seeing this? Eminem does not see color. You do. Eminem goes off of character. Don't judge me by my skin. Judge me on my work ethic and my character. That's what he judges you off of. If you're a trash nigga and you're trying to eat off this nigga's name, I don't need to do nothing to you. You're doing it to yourself.
Man, this man right here, y'all, he's a real one. Okay? And I watched a lot of his videos, and I had no idea he was on this kind of level. You know what I'm saying? I had no idea. Uh, but when I watched this video, I had no idea what I was in for. I didn't, you know. And the title says rant, right? And a whole bunch of exclamation points. And I was like, and it's an Eminem video. So he might be getting ready to bash Eminem, right? That's why I watched it, really. Because I was like, is he getting ready to say something bad about Eminem? That's what I thought was going to happen. Or the song, right? Like maybe he didn't like the song and he's getting ready to bash it and tells this song's horrible. You know, the bars are weak and all this. I don't know. I didn't know what I was in for. But man, was I pleasantly surprised to get this. Okay. You know, I don't know his name. I just know his channel. Vibe Reactions, you a dope dude for real. Okay. You really are. Because it looks to me like from what he just said, it's about character. It's not about race. We can't judge people based on race. And this kind of ties back into the conversations I've had before about white people using the N-word, right? And what I've said before was, it should be about character. It should be about culture. If you're part of the culture, if you feel like you can use that word, right, in a respectful manner, and the same manner that a lot of black people use it, if you use it in the same way, like if you're part of that community, then I don't really see a big problem with it. Okay, not a big problem, a small problem, just a small one, just enough to say, it is a powerful word. It does cause a lot of division, and that's the only thing I'm gonna say about it. Okay, and Knox Hill, what he said made a lot of sense. He grew up in the culture. He's, he feels like a lot of people that is in his group, like they wouldn't care if he used it, but he wouldn't say it. And and like I said, I think if you are white, if you're around your homies or whatever else, and they're all okay with it, then that's one thing. But you can't turn around and then say, you can go anywhere and say it and be perfectly fine, because you may not be. And that's the problem, right? Like that's the part we have to acknowledge. Okay. If you're in public, if you're at a bar, if you're at a club, and you're white, just don't say it. If you're a homophobe and you're around other homophobes and y'all want to use homophobic language, that's perfectly fine. You have the right to your opinion. I'm not going to judge you for that because you're within that group. As long as that group isn't planning on hurting other people or assaulting other people or going to other people and calling them those homophobic slurs, then I'll support your opinion. Have your opinion. You know what I'm saying? Do what you want. Just don't go assault, harass, anything else. But if you're at a club and you're using homophobic language, then guess what? Yes, I'm going to tell you you're wrong. Okay? Yes, I'm going to tell you, hey, watch your language. There's people here you could get really upset and you could end up starting a fight. And we don't need that. We don't need that. Like, yes, we have the freedom of speech, but you also have the responsibility to use it wisely. It's not smart to abuse your freedom of speech, okay, in order to cause chaos, okay? That's what's gonna get you in trouble. And that's the whole thing. Like, so many people just don't understand, okay? They really don't. You can't use your freedom of speech to incite violence, okay? Or incite physical or mental harm, okay? You can't do it. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me on that and try and say, oh, that's protected. No, it's not. Hate speech is protected, okay? It is. But I think where you could get into trouble, and like I said, I don't know the exact laws for this. Uh, it's a thin line. I'll put it to you that way. It's a thin freaking line. If you're going out to a gay bar and you're using homophobic language, okay, that could turn into a hate crime real quick. All right? Because it's a very complicated manner. If they come out and start swinging at you and you swing back, that's a crime that's happening right now, and you not really the instigator because you didn't instigate the violence, but a court could look at that differently. A court could look at that and say, you know what? When you called them that, that was incitement to violence because you knew that person might use violence against you when you said that. That is a possible outcome. I don't know if that, could ever be the case, all right? But it's a possibility. That's what I'm saying. So, like, why go there? Why push it? Why think that freedom of speech gives you the right to try and incite violence in other people? You know, if you're using that, you might incite violence. You know that. If you're using it around a small group of people who feel the same way, then you protected freedom of speech right there, right? You're not trying to incite any violence. But if you go out to people that you're going to offend, right? And you're still just calling them whatever you want, that could be incitement to violence right there. And I think it probably is. So don't incite violence. That's it. I respect him tremendously for being able to say we should judge based on the content of their character, not the color of their skin. Okay?
Why am I gonna waste my fucking time talking to a nigga that is way beneath me? Fuck out of here. No. Niggas want to keep on talking that dumb shit like it makes sense. Like, does it really make that much sense to you in your head? Because he stood up for the black. And you know what's crazy? Eminem was trying to do something. This is the crazy part about all of this. Eminem was trying to do something because he knows what his voice does in hip hop. Right or wrong. Eminem makes a fucking tweet and the whole fucking internet talks about it. So what does that mean? What does that mean to you? That means his voice is heard every time he talks. Point blank. Whether you like him or not, it doesn't matter. And he was trying to do something that the black rappers don't even do. And he was trying to fight for a cause of something that actually happened. Because those are the people that he was raised around. Those are the people that protected him. And those are the people that are his boys to this day. So why the fuck would he treat that situation any different than an African American rapper? because you didn't like what he said. Now all of a sudden this nigga's trash, and you're gonna discredit him like you weren't riding his dick for 20 years. Fuck out of here. There's a lot of things that Eminem has said in the past 25 years of me listening to this nigga that I don't agree with. I cringe when he says it. If I can't handle it, then I shouldn't listen to it, right? Then I just skip over the song. It's that easy. You see what I just did? Oh, y'all niggas is crazy. Y'all niggas is nuts. You could discredit.
You know, that is so true. You know, if you like an artist and they make a song that you hate, right? Just don't listen to that song. Focus on the songs you do like from them, right? And you could say you don't like the song. That don't mean you don't like the artist, right?